welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video, I'll be talking about one of my biggest fears when I was a child. And that fear being driving. So, when I was little, right, I never ever thought I would have a driver's license, but I have one now. So, I'm gonna explain how I felt about driving when I was like 14, 15, and now. So, when I was 14, 15, I went to secondary school where I wanted to be a cook, but that fell through, doesn't matter. So when I finished, I knew I had to make my license, right? So I was super scared of driving. Back then, even now, I'm more comfortable with driving now, but back then I was so scared. I cried and told my parents that I never ever want to have my driver's license because I had the fear of, sitting in the car and just pushing the gas and the car driving itself, which scared me because it was emotion that kind of scared me, which is really weird to explain, but I was really, really scared, right? So I finished my school and then I was home for like 2 years. I was like, you know what, F it, I need to make my license, I need to get to work. I need to have, if I ever have a child, I need to have a license so I can drive it to, doctors or school, whatever. So I thought, you know what, now it's the time to make my license. So I started my license in 2019. I had to make my tests and like first aid and like medical stuff, which I finished mostly everything in first try except the test. I failed like twice and I made it on third try. So finally I made the test. Let's start driving, right? And at the point of, starting to drive with an instructor, I never drove in my life. So we started at, the training facility or whatever it's called. It has obstacles and like, how to do stuff. So I started there, right? And I was really, really scared, driving. So I had a bunch of hours there because I was scared of the road. So first time I had to drive on myself back to where my parents came to pick me up. I screamed in the car with the instructor. Yes, he did not like that. He said, calm down, you're gonna make it, just don't scream. So I had to apologize for screaming, blah, blah, blah. So COVID hit. Amazing, right? So I probably drove like, I don't know, like 10 hours to the point where COVID hit. COVID, whatever it's called. So we were home for like 2 months, and I didn't drive for 2 months because I didn't have, the permission to drive with my parents because it's a separate thing here. So I didn't have the permission slip to drive with my parents. So when I started driving again, I forgot everything when, I came back, So I had to like relearn back the things I learned before, so that extra hours. So then another COVID round hit, so I was home again because everything was closed, blah, 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 So I was probably home for, let's say, about 6 months in 2020, around the COVID area. So I didn't make my license, I didn't drive my parents because it was so strict. Like, you were supposed to be home at 10, you couldn't go out, like, everything was so strict, police everywhere. So it was really scary. So I didn't have my license at the point. Of course, I didn't even drive at the point. So 2021 hit and I was still driving, still learning with the same instructor. And I'll be honest, I didn't switch schools right away because I thought I could make it with the instructor that I had, but he was kind of mean a little bit. So I had to like switch schools, get a nice instructor, and finally make my driver license test, like drive test, right? I also had like mock tests and I had like tutorial tests which I failed. I'm gonna tell you what happened on the first test. I started driving. We had started with at the house of the driving place. I almost hit the car there, so that was a failed, and I spent like, I don't know, like $40 on that stupid drive test, and I freaking failed first time. Second time I failed because I went into the, you know, the roundabout like too fast. I should have waited a little bit for the car that was, you know, coming that way. So that was another fail. And the third round, right, I was super scared for the third round because, you know, you never know, are you gonna make it, are you gonna not make it? I was so nervous, I couldn't talk, I was sweating, my heart was beating so fast. But I had a super chill instructor, and we didn't even do any crazy things like, you know, drive on the roundabout or fast lanes, whatever, nothing. We just drove around the city, which had easy roads, stop signs, whatever. So super easy. So I made my driver license on the third try. So that's the whole backstory of how I made my driver's license and kind of, you know, accomplished my fear of driving, I guess. So now this is where the point of me actually, you know, getting my first car and driving my first car around, right? So I got my first car in February last, no, not last year. I think it was, yeah, I think it was last year. I almost had, actually, it might be two. Actually, doesn't matter. So I got my car. It's a green car. Obviously, love my favorite color is green. Obviously, I have to have a green car. So first few months, right, my dad drove with me because he was obviously scared for me, obviously, because I'm his only child. He was super scared of that I would crash because I wasn't used to driving on myself, right? So I probably drove with my dad about 2, maybe 3 months. And then one day I came home from work. I had a job at the store, which is super close to my house. And he came, I drove there, he came to pick me up, and I drove back. So that was like 4 times back and forth, doesn't matter. So for him, love you, dad, for that. But then I came home from work and I had to like meet my friend at, you know, the city. So I was like, you know what, dad, I'm gonna drive myself. That was the first time I actually drove myself to somewhere, which is I was like last year, maybe like May, April, something like that. And I was again super scared. So I, you know, when I started driving, my legs were shaking. Like I was, you know, I was gonna do this on my own. My legs were shaking. My heart was beating. I had the radio on, and then, you know, when I was driving, I was like, "Okay, car, we can do this. We can do this. Okay, good stop." Blah blah blah. I was talking to myself like a crazy person because I was so scared I'm gonna hit someone driving first time on my own, right? So this is where the point of me getting another job, right? Which I'm currently at. I do like it, so I started driving myself to work, which I never really thought I would ever do. So I'm really happy because I beat my um childhood fear, which was driving. So haha, 14 years old, you suck. So now that I have my driver's license, right, I can go anywhere I want. I can go to the shop, 6 shops, friend's house, doesn't matter, I can go. I have my own car. My dad doesn't need to drive me, or my mom. So that is really cool, I think, at least for me. So now I'm gonna tell you what I'm mostly annoyed about when people drive. Well, with my, not passengers, but like people on the road. So first of all, we have a lot of slow pokes, right? So I had to drive myself to work this morning, and I usually go 70, even though it's 50. Don't tell my dad. And someone was going 50, and I was losing my mind because I always go 70 there. It actually was used to be 70, but now they're doing some like road work and it's 50. So plus there was no one there, so I was, you know what, I'm gonna go 70. It's not a big deal, right? So yeah, someone was going 50, so I had to drop 50. Then they stopped, so I had to go 40. And I almost lost my mind because, like, why do you gotta do this to people? So that's pretty annoying, right? Second thing, traffic. I'm really scared of when I have to like drive somewhere and then I have another lane like coming this way and I have to go like this. It's really annoying because you know I can crash if I'm not careful, so that's really annoying. Third thing that's really annoying when I have to drive is probably like traffic stop. You know, usually around 2-3 p.m. Like work rush, everyone's going home or going to work, so there's like people everywhere, and then I have to wait in lines, which sucks. I guess it's normal. So that's really annoying. And the last thing that is really annoying is Christmas because you have to go to the store, you know, get something to eat because obviously the whole family is home. We gotta get them something to eat. Or maybe if someone comes to visit, you gotta give them something. You cannot be like, hey, I have nothing. So there's always a lot of people at Christmas, so there's no parking spaces. And I work at a store, so you know, I have to like park on our like we have an employee only kind of parking spot, or you can park at like a public, you know, parking if you want. So I had to park a lot there at Christmas, and then I had to walk like really far for the car so I could go home or you know go to the work, which is really really annoying. But that's life. That's how I actually beat one of my biggest fears. Is, you know, I'm gonna give you a super big advice. This is coming from me who had a lot of hours driving with instructors and then driving my parents and then driving myself. One thing you gotta do is have confidence in yourself, which I was lacking of, I guess, and have patience and believe in yourself, because if I could do it and I had so much hours and I spent so much money on this goddamn like license, you can also do it. I'd thank you everyone for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this a little bit longer video. I actually didn't expect of making this long, but I really really appreciate it if you watched till the end. And if you did watch till the end, comment believe in yourself in the comments, and I will like pin like everything if you actually came this far. I really really appreciate it if you did come this far. You can also subscribe if you're still here if you want, and I'll see you Friday with a brand new episode of the brand new series that I just recently started. So see you then. Peace out.